was the problem over here because I had our mics killed.
All right, let me try now. Let's see if we have sound. I think we have sound.
You do?
I think so. If so, we'll restart. It's all good. Someone let us know if we have sound. We're on the delay here now.
Yeah, we're on like that 30, 40 second delay, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing.
There we go.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah. All right. Welcome into Hand Raise, guys. Brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. My name's Neal McCready. That's Chase Parham. Good to have you with us here on this Thursday night. A little late getting started. A lot of computer problems. That's okay. It's all good. We'll be with you for a little while. We'll talk about whatever's going on. So stuff going on today. We'll talk about stuff that went on today. What?
Check your text.
Okay. See? You know, when you have the day that you're like, this day probably can't get weirder. It does. Okay. Never say. It's kind of like when you're going down a hill. You just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Finally just lift your hands up and say we and see what happens. Welcome into the show. Like I said, brought to you by Comer and Southern. We'll be with you for a little while. We're in the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Let Corey know what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. 662-257-1900. I was telling you about Comer and Southern. If you're in the Oxford and Tupelo area, you want to get in touch with the people at Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating in the Hernando, Memphis area. I know it's kind of weird weather out there, which is sort of par for the course. You want to make sure your heating system's working. You want to make sure your cooling system's going to be ready to roll when the warm weather rolls into town, as it will. And I highly suggest that you get in touch with Eric Payne and all the people at Comer, all the people at Southern. It's the same products, same services, just different names, same people. And we'll be telling you about something else involving Comer and Southern not too long from now. And you want to make sure that if you are living in that area and you've got heating and cooling needs, you want to make sure you're putting your business with those guys for a lot of reasons. We'll add one of those. We'll add a reason for you.
Hopefully soon.
Here pretty soon, I think. Guest, including you guys, actually exclusively you guys, will join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place to enjoy a burger, a po' boy, appetizers, full bar, great beer selection, and more at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford, and also Rafters in New Albany. And Chase, before we get rolling, tell the people about what's going on at the Oxford Exxon.
Still got a day of the week left. Go by and get a lunch special tomorrow, $5.69, two size bread, 32-ounce drink there. And for the Super Bowl on Sunday, let them handle that for you. Some catering with the ribs. They can take care of it. Call. They'll have them wrapped up, ready to go. So if you want to take it easy for your Super Bowl party, if you want to let somebody else handle kind of the main protein for that event, get some ribs, wet, dry, whatever you like there from the Oxford Exxon and most Blue Sky locations throughout Mississippi. So again, give them a call. Let them handle your Super Bowl catering there with the ribs from the Oxford Exxon. We're going to get to Chris Kiffin in a minute. I will say I laughed. I was doing like a little bit of prep for the show while I was eating dinner, and I was scrolling through Twitter, and the unintentional comedy we kind of got from the SEC coaches meeting in Birmingham today at the SEC headquarters. I don't know what the topic was. Do you? What were they actually there for? You have any idea?
I think it's just a regularly scheduled coaches meeting. They do
just whatever.
They do meet together on occasion to talk about rules and stuff. This is when they kind of start the preparations for the spring meetings and stuff, so that when they get there, they can be efficient.
Okay. So typically, Joseph Goodman kind of gets on my nerves. He's one of the columnists for AL.com. He stalked out the back door of the headquarters because of Brian Harsin today. Harsin entered through the back door, left through the side door, following thing. Not even going out the front like everybody else. Everybody else just pulling up in their assortment of vehicles and going on with it. I guess the point being, there's going to be media at every door. You know that they want to talk to you, or at least they're going to attempt to talk to you. You're not going to talk to them. What is the purpose then of trying to do all the side and backdoor crap? Just go in like you're the coach at Auburn, which you are at this point, and go on with your day. Like I've sort of had Harsin to be a little bit of a sympathetic figure for me, but that was kind of dumb. Not a big deal, not whatever, but you're just showing the impossibility of, if you're still the coach, I don't know how you operate under the current situation, but they have not fired him yet because they apparently cannot fire him with cause yet, or at least not believe that without legal proceedings.
That is correct.
But thought that was a weird look. Got a lot of laughter out of a lot of the coaches in certain cars coming up, and it kind of is the epitome of it a little bit. Kirby comes up in a minivan, and it basically, like as a buddy said, like a 2017 Odyssey, like literally like getting dropped off at soccer practice from the mom in the minivan.
I mean,
I kind of respect it though. Like, hey, I got a ring, say something. Like, really? Like,
I kind of.
I'm just getting there.
Hey, I just hopped in an Uber. You
Yeah,
know,
good.
I mean, just hopped in an Uber.
And how on brand is it that Jimbo showed up in the Audi? Because of course he did. Anything for appearances at this point, right? Like,
and then Jimbo did that thing that is very smart. I respect this.
I know where you're going.
Because I've done this on walks. I've done this in grocery stores. Pull out your phone and just start talking into it. How do they know you're not on a call? Lets you avoid a conversation.
But we all know he wasn't on a call.
The odds are overwhelming that he wasn't on the call, but you can't.
A call he had to take right then walking into the office.
But you can't prove that he wasn't on the call, so you can't completely play the "oh, what a jerk" card, because it's possible that he got a call that he needed to take right there. Maybe one of his kids. Maybe it was his doctor. Maybe his wife was calling. No one really knows. I have a lot of respect for that. He did not want to be in a position to have to talk to those reporters, nor did he want to have to blow them off. So by being on the phone, he just sort of avoids the whole thing. And everyone suspects, and they're almost certainly right, that he wasn't really on his phone.
Did any of the coaches actually talk, though? Or did every one of them just kind of blow past the media?
But I had a lot of respect for the way Jimbo handled that. Because if someone goes, he wasn't on the phone, how do you know? Well, I don't know. Well, then you don't know.
And then if that wasn't enough, I guess it was technically yesterday, but your buddy Mark Heim writing about it in Neal.com today. Brian Harsin's dad calls into Feinbaum yesterday.
Allegedly.
Come on. The odds are overwhelming. What was his name? Is it Dale? Yeah, Dale from Boise. And Dale Harsin is his dad's name.
And he does live in Boise.
He does live in Boise, and he calls in and knows a lot about the Broncos program from the Brian Harsin tenure, defending Harsin in coaching decisions, recruiting from when he was the head coach at Boise State, running off all the players talking about running off as in listing all the players they really were recruiting well, even though they weren't 4 and 5 stars when he was there. I mean, an intimate knowledge of the Boise program. AL.com called a radio station in Boise to compare voices, said that Dale would call into their station from time to time over the years, and that it was expected that they're not FBI voice analyzers, but that it did appear to be Dale Harsin. So add another one for, as Neal told somebody today, they kind of care around here. And here we are again. That's where we are again.
Kind of care.
I mean, I kind of respect the dad move, honestly. He didn't even allow, no pseudonym or nothing. I'm Dale from Boise.
You know, I'd like to think that if Carson were the head coach at an SEC program, that I would be immune to the criticism.
You wouldn't.
But I don't think I would be.
I mean, you would know, okay, it just is what
I know
it is.
I don't need to do anything, but boy, it'd sure be tempting. Right?
You have that cocktail at 2:30 and at 3:15, you go, you know what? I'm calling into Paul.
I'm going to call into that sumbitch. Yeah. Kind of get it.
I respect it enough.
It doesn't bother me. I get why Mark wrote the story.
Oh, well, especially over there.
Lots of clicks, lots and lots and lots of clicks. But I don't have a problem with Dale Harsin calling into a show to talk about his son. It wasn't argumentative.
No, he just laid out a case.
He didn't fight.
No.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't.
Feinbaum said he could tell, didn't know it was a dad or anything, but knew something was a little intimate as far as knowing him and kind of backed off and went, okay, we're just going to let him do this.
Well, I mean, they've accused his son of a lot of things here. Instead of just saying, hey, we don't think you're the right coach, we think we made a mistake, here's $18 million, go away. They're trying to smear his character on the way out and figure out a way to not pay. And I don't have much respect for that. Just fire him. You hired him. Fire him. You gave him the contract. I mean, unless Brian Harsin walked into a room somewhere a year ago and put a gun to people's head and said, give me this contract or else, and I'm going to guess that didn't happen, that they willingly put those terms on paper after it was negotiated in good faith, then I don't see where the argument is here. And I realize it's a lot of drama and it's a lot of whatever, but to me, it's pretty cut and dried. If you don't want him to be your coach and it's clear that you don't, well, then fire him. And if he won't settle, well, he just won't settle.
What odds are you getting on this thing now?
I mean, I still think they probably end up making a move.
You do.
But I wouldn't be surprised. This is Auburn being Auburn at this point.
That's their thing, right?
Yeah.
That's their little catchphrase.
Yeah, Ole Miss people do the "we are Ole Miss" or whatever. Just Auburn being Auburn. Jabba. Yeah. This is a Jabba moment. And I wouldn't be surprised at this point if there was the ultimate Jabba moment where they fire him with cause and go, okay, let's go to court.
What are they proving?
I don't know. I mean, how do you?
Because the little stupid policy change isn't getting it done.
No. That's comical. So you'd either have to be dereliction of duty, you'd have to prove that he violated some morality clause in the contract. Good luck. Good luck. I mean, really, good luck. Because at this point, you've already dragged the girl out in front of the media. I mean, it's done. So what's he going to say? I mean, I'd like to stay just R-rated here and not go all the way.
Yeah.
All the way to the wall. But how do you prove that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that.
If she says it didn't happen and he says it didn't happen and nobody's got photographs or anything of it happening, well, then how do you know it happened? It's kind of like Jimbo and his phone, just much more meaningful.
Yeah.
Do you know for a fact Jimbo wasn't on his phone? No. Do you know for a fact that you don't? So that's out. Okay, so, well, he's a racist. Okay. Prove it. Well, he didn't recruit inner-city kids the way that some of his other predecessors did. That doesn't do it. Might be bad judgment. Might make him a bad football evaluator. But that doesn't do it. Who hired him? Alan Green. Did some of his players who were African-American stand up for him in the media? They did. On social media, they did. That's a problem from a proof standpoint. And again, I'm not taking up for Brian Harsin here. But those are all problems from a legal standpoint. So what do you have? Well, he went on vacation. He was allowed to go on vacation. What do you have? He's just not Southern enough? Well, you're the ones that flew to Boise and hired him. And unless there's a clause in the contract that says Mr. Harsin must become much more Southern over the next 18 months, you don't have that either. So what do you have? So at this point, you either need to, like I said this morning, Thursday morning, if you're listening to this on Friday, you either have to say, hey, we screwed up here, Coach Harsin, and we're sorry, and we're going to try to make this better, and you try to somehow mend fences while Kirby Smart and Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin and Jimbo and the guy at Tennessee whose name's escaping me right now. All those guys, while they go, you're really going to go to Auburn? And you know what some of this is at Auburn, in my opinion? Some of this is Brian Harsin came in and said, we're going to run a clean program.
Well, Grind just now in the thread. Look, quote, look, Harsin don't want to pay recruits, which is a big problem. It's a big problem.
You going to fire him for that?
Now, you should have known that before you hired him.
So I come back to that.
At some point, when we talked about this yesterday morning, whatever, with chancellors, same thing here. Hey, at the end of the day, you're the one that handed him the keys.
Is it that you can't relate to Southern recruits or that you refuse to buy them? Is it that you can't relate to Southern kids, or is it that you've told them, hey, the handlers and stuff, we're not negotiating with them? Now, there are some things that he's done that are just insane. I'll give you an example. Mm-hmm. He didn't want the football camp, the Auburn football camp this summer, to be
the like elite recruit camp or like the money-making kids camp?
All of the above.
Okay.
He didn't want that to be a dog and pony show like they all are. He wanted to charge $500 per head.
Hold on.
Yes. And he was
Hold
told,
on.
Yep, and he was told that no, that won't work in the South. Well, we did it at Boise. Well, this isn't Boise. You can't do that down here. And he relented ultimately.
He wanted to charge people $500 for the camp?
That's what I'm told. About a couple people.
That's a problem on multiple levels.
Of course. But again, now you're getting back into, okay, well, you're going to fire him. You're firing him because he's not Southern enough. He doesn't get us. That's not going to hold up in a court of law. It's Auburn's problem. The reason that he hasn't been fired as of right now is what you said. Auburn can't find a reason that's going to hold up in a court of law. Apparently, their hand-raised guy sitting in the room is an attorney who goes, that won't do it. Nope. That won't either. Mm-mm. Nope. That's a loser.
Yeah.
Nope.
Over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. What about if no? And so now it's, hey, let's go get somebody to cut a check. And a lot of these guys are like, it's the same thing everybody else is running into. So you want us to do what? And they're mad. So I don't know what's going to happen. I can't imagine. Right now, I would guess Alan Green doesn't know what's going to happen. And you've got a chancellor that I think is on his way out.
What's his name?
Goge. Isn't that right? Jay Goge?
Is it?
I think so. Where's Steve Robertson when you need him? Yeah, there's nobody in the Alabama media going after Brian Harsin. They'd like him to get a lifetime deal right now. Yeah.
He didn't do anything wrong.
I like Brian and Hars. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's weird. Okay. It'd be pretty tough at this moment. There aren't too many people in the league that would go, yeah, we'll trade places with Auburn. But I will say this. And I covered the team for a while. I covered that state for a while. The idea that this is going to just crater the Auburn program is insane. It's probably too strong to be cratered. Send them in a little bit of a blip down, sure. But no. Crater them, no. And if they open the job up, the list of people that will want the job will probably be lengthy. And if they can find a way to do the Harsin thing through November and then pay him off at $15 million or whatever it would be, and then open the job up at a regular time, the list of people that will want that job will be a long one. That's just reality. It's a great job. It's a top 15 job under any criteria. But it's a little crazy, and it's a lot crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot crazy.
And you're seeing the crazy.
So here locally, sometime, I don't know what time it was, 11:30 today, Chris Lowe reporting Chris Kiffin headed back to the Cleveland Browns. His stint with the Rebels lasting, I guess, about a month-ish. I don't know, something like that.
Was it even that?
Maybe not.
I don't know.
It was all running together because I made a message board post about the first time we had gotten any inkling of something potentially not being long-term with Kiffin here.
It's the Tuesday after he was hired.
Was that when it was?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, when I first made the post, I was like, I don't know, a week or so ago. And I went, no, it was like 2.5 weeks ago maybe. Like it was a lot longer than that, but it's all kind of running in my head.
Because he kind of went away, and I just sort of assumed that everything was fine.
Yeah. He had stalled on basically moving here. And it threw antennas up, but I couldn't get any further with it. It kind of stuck right there. And like Neal said, we didn't really hear anything for 10, 15 days and kind of thought, all right, well, I mean, there's some cold feet, but You come and you show up, and you tell your brother, yes, you're probably going to stick at least for a year and see what's going on. But apparently he had reached back out to the NFL pretty quickly, reached back out to the Browns specifically pretty quickly, which is where he was. He told multiple people that he did not want to get into the level of recruiting necessary to do the job effectively, that he missed the NFL schedule maybe not even more than he realized, but more than he could handle, I think might be the way to put it.
And there were some family considerations that I'd heard about right away. You know, NFL assistant coaches during the season, it's a grind. I mean, it's you know, to say it's a full-time job is an understatement. But in the off season, you're home at 4:30. You can go see the kids play. You can go to the Little League game.
Mm-hmm. There ain't nothing after hours.
No, I mean, you just go to the office and you do some work and you do your thing and you slide out at 4 o'clock and you want to go play 18 holes, you can do it. You want to go hang out with the family, you can do it. And Chris has a young family, and I think he had started enjoying that lifestyle. And I think there was some reluctance about moving back to Oxford. It's one of the reasons it took so long to make the decision in the first place, the initial decision.
Because it was like over a week.
Yeah, when most people thought it was going to happen in a day or two, and it took a week. And then I think there was just some sense that he'd made a mistake. And then time, happened, and I don't know exactly what happened in Cleveland, but his former job either reopened or they decided that it was reopened, and he was given the opportunity, and you know the rest. Listen, and I've said this, I do know some coaches who've left the college ranks to go to the pros, and when they go to the pros, they'll tell you, man, I'll never miss recruiting. The recruiting thing, and recruiting, I talked to a coach today who's out of the business. No, not Tyler Siskey, another one. Who's out of the business, who said the recruiting grind now is just so bad.
Portal and all the stuff.
Everything. It's just constant. What used to just be 3 or 4 weeks is now year-round. It just never stops. And for a lot of guys with young families and stuff, that's a real strain, and they start to think this is not really what I signed up for.
Where Ole Miss goes from here, I have no idea. I mean, the calendar is not in a good, advantageous place for this, especially if you're trying to find somebody else who potentially could have defensive coordinator titles. Obviously, Partridge would need to have some rapport with that person. Mm-hmm. Handing the reins completely over to Partridge and just hiring a linebackers coach is a possibility. Chris has never called the defense by himself, but that's the situation they're in right now. You also technically could hire a defensive line coach. You could move Joyner up back. I mean, that's kind of the versatility options you have. So you could be doing co-coordinators, somebody to handle linebackers. You could be hiring a defensive line coach. You could be hiring a linebackers coach. You find the right fit. Where that's going, I have no idea. A lot of scuttlebutt that, and I do not know a name definitively. A lot of scuttlebutt lanes really close to the special teams coordinator hire.
Yeah, and I'll freely admit here, I have no idea on a name, no clue.
But hearing a lot that's close, and then whatever happens from this Chris Kiffin spot. So I don't know. Kind of where I'm at. That's all I got.
There's 2 spots now, is that right?
That would be, yes. Okay. 2 spots open right now. Yes.
Then I've heard talk about bringing in another general manager type thing, and I don't know where that stands.
Yeah, because they're retooling pretty much the entire ops area of it. So, yes. Yeah, Dixie State is in Utah, and I believe they're changing the name.
Oh, really?
I think I'm right. Or they changed a mascot or something. Yeah, they were doing something with changing something or other. It hasn't really been on the tip of my thought process, but yeah.
You haven't broken down what's going on at Dixie State?
No. Well, we had talked about it at some point, and then you mentioned them when you were looking up Utah high schools, whenever that was.
And people keep asking about the mystery thing. There's no mystery. I was referring to Trace Campbell, Chance's brother. who turned down scholarship offers elsewhere to be a preferred walk-on at Ole Miss. I thought that was big news. It wasn't that long ago that people were hanging on every nugget of information regarding Trace Campbell.
Dixie State University is becoming Utah Tech University. The more you know.
You know what? Someone mentioned Taylor Polk in the thread. I don't want anybody to be mad at me here when I say this, but if I were Taylor, I would not immediately take a job at my alma mater. He's already had a grad assistantship at his alma mater. If I were Taylor, I would take this first job at a place like Troy and get my feet wet, cut my teeth, whatever parable or analogy or whatever you want to use. I don't know that I would jump right into an SEC job at my alma mater under that level of microscope. I could be wrong, but I think that I would stay with John Summerall, at least at the beginning of my career, and work on recruiting and those things at a place where the spotlight is not white hot.
About that.
I could be wrong, and he could end up in Oxford tomorrow, but I kind of doubt it. And I think I've talked to some coaches who say you don't want to take a job at your alma mater too soon. Some will say ever, but not too soon, because it can kind of backfire on you a little bit. Taylor's a young guy. Coaches get hired to get fired, and you don't want to get fired at your alma mater. You'd rather get fired.
Especially early on.
You'd rather get fired someplace else.
He's a good dude.
Taylor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a great story. I get it. The natural thing is to think who's got connections to Ole Miss. I think the other thing that probably more accurate thing would be to try to find out who's got, at this point, connections to Chris Partridge.
Yeah.
That's the route. I mean, if you're searching for a tree to hunt.
Makes you wonder if Partridge goes, God, why don't we just keep Marquise Watson?
Well, I'm sure that Chris Partridge thought that today.
Yeah.
On numerous occasions.
Could have made this real simple.
This was simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Partridge could have coached in the back end.
Yeah. Well, then move Joyner to linebackers.
Yeah, Joyner coaches linebackers, and you're all good.
Mm-hmm. But ifs and buts and candy and nuts.
Someone saying Freeze not interested. No.
He would go.
He would. I would be shocked. Be shocked if Freeze did not want the Auburn job. I will tell you that I was told yesterday that Auburn's not interested in the current administration is not interested in Freeze. Though I do think that Sankey and the SEC have signed off on it.
Oh, really?
I do think they have.
That's over now.
Reached the point where they feel like he has paid his dues, or paid his penance.
Grizzlies up 13 right now in Detroit. Talked about them on this morning show a little bit.
I think I said this already. I do know this. There are people close to Freeze who have told Freeze that Auburn would not be a good fit for him. There is a ton of media at Auburn. That is a involved, passionate fan base. They are involved a lot. The message boards, the social media is active. For a guy like Hugh, that might be more than he can handle.
Fair.
Because I don't think Hugh's gotten past the point where he searches his name on Twitter.
And
that would be consuming at a place like Auburn.
Yeah. The SEC announced the price of the checks that are coming to the league today.
Saw that.
Revenue rose to $777 million during the fiscal year, an increase of $120 million from the previous year. So when you divide that equally, excluding bowl expenses, each school will receive roughly $54.6 million this season for playing football in this league.
That's what the ACC gets, right? They get about 54, 55.
I would like to know. I'd be curious how many schools, and it's not a huge number, but I mean, obviously most of the group of 5. I wonder how many schools have a total athletic budget below $54 million.
Oh, a bunch.
And it's just what the league is giving a school.
I mean, a bunch, right?
Well, I mean, it was 12 years ago that Ole Miss was in that range. I mean, it hadn't been that long ago. Ole Miss is like 120 or something now. But television contracts, postseason football games, the SEC championship game, the conference men's basketball tournament, NCAA championships, and then a supplemental surplus distribution. It does not include a one-time supplement of approximately $23 million given to each school in 2021 that helped offset the financial impact of COVID-19.
Did the Sun Belt passed out $23 million to everybody?
I don't think just as a rainy day. Hey, we'll help you guys out.
We're good.
How do you get to 23? Why'd that number?
Guess they just did some math, or they were honoring Ryan Sandberg. Who knows?
Sankey just a few months into a contract extension that will keep him with the conference through 2026.
Apparently, there's conversation about the UAB line. What's the line tonight? UAB's up 22, but
the line is 23.
Oh, who are they playing?
Southern Miss.
You know what channel that's on?
Ask the thread. They seem very interested. So it might have to be a TV2 thing. I don't know. Oh,
here
right
we go.
there.
Here we go. Right there. CBS Sports Network.
Okay.
The line's 23.
Yep.
Oh, they're up 23 with 4:51, and Southern Miss has the ball.
Don't you love betting? I mean, people watching a game that is 80-57 with 4 minutes to go. I mean, and Andy's pissed about something.
His record got broken the other night.
Yeah, it was a cool pick. The guy coming off the court and the single game scoring record 40-something.
Andy's record was 41,
okay.
And Jelly Walker got 42.
Okay.
I had talked to Andy the other night before that happened, and I was like, "How's your team?" And he goes, "Well, we got this one kid, Jelly Walker, who can score."
He did.
And he did. He was right.
He's probably liking their team.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, what are they, 18-5? Am I reading that right?
Yeah, 18-5. They lost to South Carolina. They had a weird loss to San Francisco. Lost to West Virginia.
Southern Miss is not good.
And then they lost a
21.
kind of lost a weird league game the other day. Who did they lose to? Marshall?
Did they?
Somebody like that? Yeah.
Okay. Saw they won in Ruston. Interview here.
Yeah, saw that.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Anyway.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not stare at the screen for the next 350 on that UAB Southern Miss.
I'm
game.
now invested in the line, and
Yeah,
I don't have a nickel on it. This is why I couldn't bet. I'd be too nervous watching.
Mop up time, whether or not.
Yeah. Like,
shoot a text, hey, Andy, no, we got to go here, bud.
You do wonder. Like, Andy's pretty suave about stuff.
He had an idea.
I'm guessing he knows the line.
You think so?
But you can't leave your team out there and get somebody hurt.
Jelly can't be on the floor with a minute left.
I mean, someone else is going to have to get it done, you know?
He's not like drawing up stuff right now going, hey, guys, no, look.
No.
Come
He's
on.
not thinking, okay, carry the one. No, I mean. All right, we'll open up the phone lines. I'll pray they work. It's been a day.
Ole Miss was picked to win the SEC in baseball today by the league coaches.
Oh, really?
They were, yes.
What's the order of prediction?
So, in a little bit of for people, the way it works is every coach picks a Western or an Eastern winner, or an Eastern winner, and then an overall winner.
And you can't pick yourself.
That is correct. You cannot pick yourself.
Right.
So it created a weird dynamic. In the West, they have Ole Miss finishing second to Arkansas.
Okay.
80 points for Arkansas, 77 points for Ole Miss.
Okay.
77 points for State, actually. They're tied for second. LSU 62 for fourth in the West. Alabama 38, fifth in the West. A&M sixth in the West, 36 points. And then Auburn, who's apparently really bad this year, 22 points, seventh in the West. In the East, Vanderbilt won. They got 9 of 14 first-place votes. Florida second, 3 first-place votes. The Georgia Bulldogs third. They got 2 first-place votes in the East.
Okay.
Tennessee at 4, South Carolina at 5, Kentucky at 6, and then Missouri at 7. But
Ole Miss got more overall.
for the overall votes,
Okay.
Ole Miss gets 4 votes, which means everybody who picked Ole Miss to win the West also picked them to win the overall title.
Okay.
Arkansas, 3 first-place votes, meaning 3 of the 5 picked them to win, but the other 2 picked the East team, which is how you end up here. Florida, 2, State, 2, Vanderbilt, 2, and then LSU got 1 vote.
So what I take from that is that half of the league is very, very good.
Yeah, and half of
Is
the
that fair?
league, yeah, and the coaches really like Ole Miss and Arkansas in the East even over State, even though they're tied, it feels like they have Ole Miss and Arkansas a touch
But the
ahead.
teams that everybody likes are Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and Florida. Is that right?
Ole Miss, State, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Florida, and Georgia's really trendy right now because of how they're going to pitch.
Okay.
Georgia's really
Pitching
going to
matters.
pitch it. Yeah, they're going to pitch it. Now, do they hit? They never do, so we'll see. Tennessee's in an interesting year 2 under Tony Vitello. You got to kind of do that sophomore thing, which isn't as easy as that year 1, really getting everybody up with piss and vinegar and kind of doing the whole
Yeah, sure.
that thing. And then from an individual award, Jacob Gonzalez, first team All-SEC at shortstop. That's the only Ole Miss first place. And then second place, they've got several. Hayden Dunhurst, second team, which kind of thought he wouldn't beat out Tanner Allen, but either way. At catcher, Tim Boko, second team at first base. Peyton Chatinier, second team at second base. And Kevin Graham, second team in the outfield for the Rebels. So that is where
It's a loaded lineup.
It is a loaded lineup. Yeah, no, Ole Miss and OSU have the 2 best lineups in the league, probably in the country. As I said, Ole Miss is deeper. They are better 1 through 9 in their lineup. LSU, I feel like, has a better middle of the lineup because they really, really hit with Dylan Cruz and Jacob Berry, an Arizona transfer that came with Jay Johnson that Ole Miss saw up close and personal in Tucson last year. So, that's kind of your SEC rundown. Arkansas with let's see, they have 2, 1 first teamer.
Who's that? The second baseman?
Robert Moore.
Yeah.
And then on the second team, they've got Caden Wallace at third base and Brady Slavins in the outfield. And Caden, no, that's it. Yeah, never mind.
Okay. Hey, caller, who do we have?
Hey guys, it's Mark from DC, long-time caller, long-time listener. So I have a hypothetical for you guys. So how much different would the 2020 football season be if we had, or Ole Miss had, the 2021 defense?
How much different? Oh, okay. Yeah, I had to think for a minute.
I'm pulling it up.
Because they went 5 and 5.
4 and 5 with the bowl win. Do they beat?
Ole Miss got no stops against Florida.
So they lose to Florida
No stops
51-35. You're in it,
You're in it.
and maybe.
Yeah. It would have still been hard, but a better chance there, sure.
The question is, do they have a shot against Alabama? Do they beat Alabama?
On that night? Probably win the game.
I would actually give them a better shot against Bama than Florida for whatever reason.
Because Florida seemed to kind of lose interest at some point and had
Ole Miss kept scoring to kind of keep it interesting.
yeah.
I think they probably beat Alabama. Arkansas beats them 33-21 in that interception, but the interceptions just kill you. I don't know that I'm changing it off that.
Probably not.
Auburn beats them 35-28.
They win that
the game. They frankly probably won anyway.
And they beat LSU.
Well, without a ref call, I mean, that game was an Ole Miss win anyway.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So,
Probably.
yeah, I think you've got them down to.
They beat LSU. They would have won.
I mean, hell, they have 2. I've got them at 2 losses.
That's about right.
Yeah, 7-2 in the regular season because they didn't play A&M. And then
Do
your
you
bowl
think we
game.
would have beaten A&M that year?
Well, you would if you'd played them the first time because they didn't have Kellen Mond, but.
Here's the other thing to keep in mind.
I'm thinking like if everybody's healthy. Obviously, we probably crush A&M if they don't have Kellen Mond, but if they have Kellen Mond, I think it's a pretty competitive game.
Here's the other thing: is in this past year's defense at the beginning of the year, in the big games, they weren't particularly good. Like Alabama lit them up, Arkansas lit them up, and then they started to kind of figure it out. So if that trend held, that Alabama game would have been really interesting.
Yeah, but even as bad as this year's defense was in the first game was really the first half was really good in the first game. But say
I'm talking about first conference games. When I'm not talking about Tulane and stuff. I'm talking about Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee. That's kind of how they started. And if you go back and look at that Alabama game, they weren't particularly good on defense that day in Tuscaloosa, and then they weren't good on defense at all against Arkansas. And then they started to figure it out against Tennessee, and then they got going.
I mean, once they figured it out, I mean, if you take the first half of the season out, I mean, they were probably the top, 4 or 5 defense in the SEC?
Yeah, I'd have to think about it a little bit more than that, but yeah, probably. Yeah, probably so.
So with the amount of transfers we have coming in this year, I mean, is it crazy to think that there's only one just absolutely permanent L on the schedule for this year that just I can't win, which will be Alabama?
I mean, you're saying all those portal guys hit, and I'm not saying they're not going to hit, but you're maxing it out.
Track record of the past 2 years, I mean, even if 90% of them or 80% of them hit, I mean that's a pretty good team.
The gauntlet on the second half is what scares you because it's just back to back to back to back to back. I don't. That schedule sets up really good early to get these guys experience and confidence and settle in your new quarterback, whether that's Jackson Dart or Luke Altmaier. But when you get to that second half, it's just on and on and on and on. It's just hard to handicap what that does because typically at some point you get banged and bruised and you go on the road and somebody pops you.
Yeah. So realistically, for fans to be okay for next season, it's probably 8-4, 9-3. That's probably 9-3, probably the best case. Worst case scenario is probably 7-5, 8-4 ish.
Yeah, I mean,
if you put a gun to my head and told me to predict the season, I would predict 8-4.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
But like Kentucky is a losable game. I know we're bashing Auburn today, but I was having this conversation with someone earlier today who was kind of asking about this. I'm just not going to be that guy that goes, Ole Miss has a W over Auburn. They don't.
Ole Miss just doesn't beat Auburn.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I hear people do that, and it's like, oh, that's a win. I'm like, well, I get it that on paper it looks like
winnable.
It looks like a win, and it feels like a win, but until you beat them, it's not a win. And then after that, it's like Chase said, it's those last 5 games, and I don't have them in order in my head, but I mean Alabama at home, and then at Texas A&M, and then
at Arkansas,
and you got to go to LSU, and Mississippi State's got a bunch of guys back and a third-year starter at quarterback, and they're going to want that game bad, and it's hard for me to believe that. Outside of Alabama, that out of those other 4 games, that's just some 4-0 stretch. That just feels awfully optimistic. But, look, if they do it, kudos to them. I mean, work out for us, but it's just kind of hard to
it's
look
not
at that.
a real possibility, though. I mean,
no, it's not. But to do that, right, if you're going to do – and I agree with you, but if you do that, then you have to turn around, and this is where I always get back into meet in the middle. Then you have to turn around and go, okay, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that you go 1-4 in that stretch.
Yep.
That you lose at LSU, that you lose at College Station, that you lose in Fayetteville, that you get, that Mississippi State gets you, that you're kind of banged up, that you lose to Kentucky. I mean, all of those things are possibilities as well. And so, when you do the worst case is 7-5, and they did not cover, by the way. Worst case is 7-5, and
what's he mad about?
Maybe he bet on it. I don't know. Is the game over? I think so. Worst case is 7-5, and best case is 10-2. The middle is where you typically land.
8-4. Yeah.
8-4,
9-3. Yeah. Okay. Last question. So, where would you rank? And obviously, we're kind of going out of a limb. Well, not really a limb, but we all kind of think that Jackson Dart is going to be the starting quarterback. I mean, just based off talent and ability alone. Where would you rank Dart in terms of like SEC quarterbacks right now?
I'd have to have a list in front of me. I'd put Bryce Young 1, obviously.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett just led his team to a national title. I'd have to put him up there in terms of proven commodities.
I'm thinking just based off abilities, probably top 6 at least.
Yeah, I could see that. It's about. I wouldn't want to go much higher than that right now.
He's got to do it. I mean, you look at his list, and he blew up Washington State, and he was fine in the other games. He's a true freshman. I'm not criticizing him.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it go week in, week out.
When he does at Ole Miss.
Let me see the wide receivers. I mean, the backfield for damn sure. I think they're going to put a pretty good line together. You're going to have Jeremy James sliding over to left tackle. You got a Broker sliding in. Mason Brooks playing right tackle. They put a good group together there. But I kind of want to see the wideouts a little bit.
I mean, they look good on paper.
They do, yeah, no doubt. I mean, you've heard a ton of good stuff about Jalen Knox. We'll see what he looks like. See if Deion Smith comes to fruition.
A lot of good stuff about Michael Spurlock and Enrique Davis from other coaches, and you saw that turn out.
Oh, sure.
I mean,
we'll see.
Look at his stats. He was last 5 games were he was 12 of 18 for 109 yards against Arizona. He was 8 of 17.
But Arizona's terrible.
8 of 17 for 89 yards against Arizona State. Had a pick in that game. Against UCLA, he was 27 of 47 for 325, a touchdown and 2 picks. Against BYU, which I'm sure was an emotional game for him, he was 23 of 35 for 248 and a touchdown. And then their season finale at Cal, he was 17 of 26 with a touchdown in a 24-14 loss. So
I mean, average numbers, but like y'all said, he's a true freshman.
Yeah, I mean, good numbers, but yeah, there's still a lot to prove. I mean, he's not the proven commodity that the kid at Kentucky is at this point. It could be by week 5 or 6, but he's got some stuff to prove. And I'm kind of like Chase. I mean, look, I think he's going to win the job, and I expect him to win the job. But I do think there will be a competition there, and.
So do you think the talent gap between Altmaier and Dart is significant, or is it kind of somewhat close?
I don't know.
I think the pure talent's not overly crazy different. I mean, I actually like Luke's talent. I think there's some improvisation skills. I think that what he did, just sort of playing football in the Sugar Bowl, settled him a little bit. I mean, I'm not sure if there's the overall arm strength, but frankly, I think he's very capable of being a very competent college quarterback. I don't know that it's pure talent. I don't know if there's a ton of difference.
Yeah.
We just haven't seen Luke developed. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'd
bet
bet
on Dart.
Long enough. I hope you have a good night. I'll enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Trying to go back now. The Skype thing. Isn't that weird?
Kills it.
It just kills it. And I restarted it, and
we're showing excellent. So
yeah, I think we're back. It's just weird. And it doesn't do it every time.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Did anything in the baseball prediction shock you?
Let me get it back up.
Just a loaded league.
Seeing Judd Fabian back at Florida is interesting.
Oh, he did go back, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He had a really disappointing.
So much. I mean, I know it doesn't necessarily matter in the pros, but so much swing and miss.
Yeah.
And at the college level, when there's that level of swing and miss, you kind of go, hey, is there just a lot of swing and miss? Like, is that all that's kind of here? How good talent-wise that outfield is on that first team. Dylan Cruz at LSU just hammers the baseball, Fabian, and then Enrique Bradfield Jr. from Vanderbilt.
Oh, that kid's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really stout offense. Landon Sims, interesting. I mean, he was an All-American closer for State. He's now their Friday night starter. They've transitioned him into the rotation. It's kind of interesting. And then Vanderbilt's name to know this year is Nick Maldonado, replacing.
Is he related to the Candy Maldonado, Martin Maldonado, all the Major League Baseball Maldonados?
No idea. I'm kind of curious now, though. And then Hunter Barco from Florida was the other first team.
I don't know.
Doesn't appear to.
Okay.
On bios, all I've got is his father played baseball at Manhattan College. His sister played softball at Notre Dame. He had a brother play baseball at Pitt, and another brother who's committed to play baseball at Clemson. So there's the athletic family.
So you'd think if his dad or uncle or someone were,
I would assume that would be on the list.
that'd make the
Vanderbilt bio.
And you'd want, if I'm Vanderbilt, I'd want that because that would explain how he afforded to pay his own way.
That's a good point. Yeah.
See,
Vanderbilt should add a line at the bottom, and it's like combined annual income or something like something like that.
So Kumar Rocker goes back in the draft. Is that right? How does that work?
He's just done nothing, right?
Yeah, the Mets own his rights for a year.
Mm-hmm.
But then the draft comes up and they don't own his rights anymore. So he goes back into the draft, or can he sign as a free agent?
Thought he goes in the draft, right?
I don't know. I'm guessing that's right, but I don't know that to be the case.
I'm not 100%
You just
sure.
never see that happen. But I guess it's the same as – but it's not the same as a high school kid who declines the because then he goes to college for 3 years.
The only similarity would be, did Hochaver get drafted before he went independent ball back in the day? Or did he do that? Did he just –
I don't know.
Because wasn't he the one that ended up playing for like the Fort Wayne Cat, whatever they're called, the independent team?
For some reason,
Hochaver right. is the name that came to mind. It's been the most similar.
He was the kid from Tennessee?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
People are asking about John Rice Plumlee. Will he play for UCF? Has he gotten any kind of a clearance?
I have not heard anything about a waiver for him.
Has he requested one? Or is the
school, yes, I was aware. As far as I know, he was doing all he could to try to be eligible for UCF this season. Yes.
Why would you not let him be eligible? What's the gain there?
Well, there is none. I mean, it's stupid. I mean, you got a caller?
Hang on.
Okay, real quick. So Hochaver, for anybody who's curious, they selected Hochaver 40th overall in the 2005 draft. After initial negotiations between the Dodgers and him and Boris, he switched agents and accepted a $2.98 million signing bonus from scouting director Logan White. However, the next day he changed his mind on switching agents, returned to Boris, and reneged on the deal. After several more months, they never came to an agreement. He entered the draft again in 2006, a year later, and was selected by the Royals first overall.
Okay.
So he went from 40th to first by not playing.
It was a good move.
It was a good move, yes.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Philip in Memphis.
Hey, Philip.
I'm not going to say, how y'all doing? I was listening to either this morning's podcast or the one with Tyler Sniffy, and I had a thought on the unintended consequence of the portal, and I just wanted to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
Do you think that portal jumpers, as I'm calling them, are going to have the same fondness for their final university as someone who signed as a high school senior and stuck with it for 4 to 5 years? Like, is Joe Burr going to be as fond of LSU as Romero Miller is of Ole Miss?
Joe Burrow will be because his experience was so incredibly positive there, and they were the school that kind of gave him a chance. Will your typical transfer? I don't know. Probably not. How could you, I guess? But, I mean, I think it will probably be like a lot of people's college experience. It will vary, depending on what kind of experience you have.
There will be a fondness if you get developed and get to the NFL, and that's the reason you did it, is because you went to that school. It's not like Romero necessarily, but it's its own type of thing there, where you're getting, it's more of a business deal. And I don't mean, forget recruiting. I don't mean that. I mean, literally, who's going to develop me? Where do I get the ball? Where do I get on the field? What do I do? And how do I get to the next level?
Yeah.
They're not worried about the recruiting photos unless they're using some Instagram stuff for a couple days.
I'm guessing Mason Brooks, for example, right, who spent 4 full seasons, maybe even 5 at Western Kentucky. And he's taking advantage of this COVID thing. He comes to Ole Miss, and he's coming to Ole Miss for a couple of reasons. I mean, I talked to him for the story that we wrote when he committed or transferred or whatever word we're using for that. And, he said he felt like he wanted to play at the highest level that you can play in college, which is the SEC, and he wanted to improve his stock to the point where he would get invited to the Senior Bowl and he would get invited to the NFL Scouting Combine, which is harder to do from Western Kentucky. So I'm sure that if that happens, and I hope for his sake that it does, that happens, he'll look back at probably both places fondly. But, I mean, it would be understandable, right, if the place that kind of had more sentimental, mushy value was Western Kentucky, and the place that maybe he looked at and said that place helped me get there was Ole Miss. I mean, you can love two schools at once.
Yeah, I just the business aspect was a good point. That's what I was thinking is, a lot of these people that are transferring, it's like you said, no, Coach, I don't need to know that the girls are the prettiest there and the Grove is the greatest piece of grass and trees that have ever lived. What are you doing for me from an NIL perspective? How quickly can I get on the field? Who's in front of me in the depth chart? They're more looking at it from free agency, and it's more of a business transaction, whereas
what's funny? It's a great point that you bring up, but I don't know. Based on, and I would have before about 2 weeks ago, I would have thought you were right. But I think now, with the transfer guys, it's more about what can you do to get me to the league than it is the whole NIL thing. And with the high school kids, it's the NIL thing. That's been my experience over the last couple of weeks from just kind of talking to a lot of people, is that it's the high-level elite high school kid that is sort of driving NIL deals, and the transfer guy, especially the guys that only have a year or so left, they're less consumed. They're less interested in that and far more interested in getting the tape that they need for the NFL to see that they can play at this level so that they improve their draft stock.
Interesting. All right. Well, it like I said, I was listening, and one of those ideas that came up, and I started talking back to y'all, and I was like, oh, never mind, I'm listening to the podcast. Can't chime in, so I was waiting for tonight. So,
well, we appreciate the call. Yeah, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Let's see what happens.
Where we're going to die again?
Yeah, but we didn't there.
Okay this time?
It appears so. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's Steve in Greenville.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, I got a question for Chase.
Uh-huh.
Are you watching How I Met Your Father?
I've only watched the first episode.
Is that real?
Yeah, have you not seen that?
No.
Neal perked up about a show he doesn't watch.
Well, I figured he was trolling you about it.
No. It's Duff, the actress. She's the main character. I've only watched the pilot. It did enough to keep me still watching. I went into it wanting to hate watch it, if I'm honest. I was ready to kill it. They did a couple things that were smart enough. The secondary characters I don't care for much at all, so I don't know if I'm overly involved with it, but it did enough to make me hit play again. I thought that they were pretty clever with a couple different things. So it's okay, but it's always right there in the back of my mind. I really would like to hate it, and it almost annoyed me. I couldn't quite fully hate it the other day. But I will keep going, yes.
If you ever want to see a cringe-worthy show,
sure,
watch the failed pilot for How I Met Your Dad.
Okay.
Think Barney Stinson as a woman talking to her kids about how she met her dad.
Okay. That's the thing?
Cringeworthy.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me about an hour to find it online, but
okay.
Anyway.
Right.
Last thing, and I promised my significant other that I would ask y'all, who should I cheer for in the Super Bowl?
Bengals.
Bengals?
Of course.
Okay, any particular reason why?
I mean, I don't know how anybody could go against Joe Burrow, Mike Hilton, Jamar Chase. There's tons of SEC connections. Young team, fun team. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati didn't require masks and vaccines all year. L.A. went nuts with all that stuff. It's lots of reasons.
Matt Stafford's a good dude in his last shot. Burrow's going to get his. That's your Rams argument.
Dan Marino says hello.
I haven't watched the Super Bowl since the Saints were in one, so I'm getting dragged to this one. So, all right, thought I'd ask.
Yep.
Have a good night, guys.
But Dan Marino thought, I'm going to get another shot.
Or Jim Kelly thought he would win one eventually. It's
that documentary on that. Cole asked a question earlier. Cole, thanks for the super chat. He says, Neal, can you explain lemon tree's color coding? I missed the origin of that. So let's see.
Is it binder tabs? Like why is it a color system?
I don't know. I never asked. God, can you imagine how bad that radio would have been if you got him to explain it? So-and-so's a blue color. So-and-so's a red player.
But we didn't know what the skill was.
Well, I didn't either. I just always cringed at that. Like, what are we – there's no way anyone's interested in this.
There's a lot of paper in that room.
Red was really good. Is that right? And then blue was just kind of good.
Blue wasn't better, like blue chip? Like, we couldn't be that simple? We had to overcomplicate it?
I mean, no sense in getting defensive, Parham. I mean, I didn't do it. I couldn't. And if you were like a yellow player, didn't he have a yellow player? That was just kind of like
I don't know.
Average player or something.
Was every player color coded?
Every player was coded.
Like in the country?
Pretty much.
We need a hobby. Anything.
Yeah. Something.
Coin collecting. Stamps. Bird watching.
Something.
Well, home team was entertaining? Was it really? I can't hit the button. I can't make myself even hit the button to hate it.
I want to watch it. I'm going to get around to it.
I mean,
the little bit of clips and things I've seen, it's like, whoa. So these are the highlights?
I mean,
it reminds me of like when you see like a school does like what their equivalent of the season or whatever from the 52-7 loss. You see that play early in the game where, hey, a run for 17 yards. That was the highlight.
You do miss the old-timey coaches shows during the blowout loss.
Yeah.
When they're trying to, hey, let's talk about the third quarter. You got a good gain of 4 right there. Take us through that one.
Did you think right here you had something going? Well, Billy, kind of did.
Because they used to tape those right after the games.
Can you imagine?
Because the number of times the coach was so pissed off having to do that.
The poor TV guy.
Just.
He was like, oh, shit.
I haven't watched the Kurt Warner movie either. I haven't.
No, it doesn't look good either. Hey, who do we have?
Yo, it's Grind.
Grind, what's up?
Oh, man, I'm having a pretty good night right now, man. If South Alabama come through and go ahead and clear this 15 and that game go over 135, I'll clear 16 of the night. I'll be feeling real good, man.
Oh, that's good. Who's South Alabama playing?
Arkansas Little Rock.
Oh, okay. Is that in Mitchell Center or is it in Little Rock?
No, it's in the Mitchell Center, man. I just saw I just saw South Alabama favored by 15, and if they favored by 15 over somebody, then that probably mean they're gonna win big. So I just went ahead and took them.
Yeah, because they usually play pretty well at home.
Yeah, they got a Auburn transfer. What's that guy name? Gosh, if dang, his name is escaping me right now. But he plays point guard. Turbo.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have saw in the chat. It's some small conference stuff, but the Horizon League, Illinois and Chicago is leaving the Horizon League for another conference, and so the Horizon League is suspending all their winter sports from participating in conference tournaments. So it really doesn't matter with their basketball program from what I hear, because they're not going to get it. They're not good enough to win the conference tournament or getting that large bid anyway. But is that something that y'all can see like G5 or maybe even Power 5 conferences doing in the future?
So they're not allowing Illinois Chicago to play in one?
No, they're not allowing their winter sports.
Period.
Period. To participate in any conference postseason tournaments.
No,
or any conference, tournaments after that.
I don't think a Power 5 league would be that petty. Now, they might get officials to say, hey, make it hard.
Oh.
But I don't think they'd prevent them from playing.
I agree with that. I think I agree with that, because that seems super petty, man. Like, why you going to, basically take it out on the kids.
There's a lot of this whole conference realignment thing gets people pretty worked up. I mean, people get irritated about this. I mean, more than irritated is not strong enough. People get emotional about the whole conference realignment and letting people in and not letting people in. And there's a lot of the Big 12, even though it's kind of they've gotten over it to some degree, they're still pretty hung up on Texas and Oklahoma and all that's happened. I heard just yesterday Oklahoma contends that they're not getting calls that they normally get in basketball, that they're getting victimized on the court from an officiating standpoint, and they're blaming Big 12 refs.
Oh yeah, I can believe that. I mean, yeah, I can totally see that. I can see, how, bigger conferences will move covertly against, teams that's, leaving the conference and stuff like that.
All right, let's get to the elephant in the room. We can talk about Illinois, Chicago, and the Horizon League and all that stuff another night. Come on. What is going on?
Can you name another Horizon team member? League
in
member?
the Wright State.
Wright State is in the Horizon League. Good
How about
job.
that?
There you go.
That's
the only one I had. But yeah.
Wisconsin, Milwaukee?
Are they?
Wisconsin, Milwaukee's in the
Green Bay?
I think Green Bay's in the Horizon.
Okay. All right, sorry, Grind.
Is DePaul in the Horizon?
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
No, I think DePaul's in the
Are they in the A10?
American.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Ain't DePaul in the American?
Okay, I don't know.
Or they might be in the A10 with Creighton in them. They was somebody here.
A10 sounds better than American, but y'all are both stalling at this point. Let's talk Auburn. They're in the SEC. What's happening?
Man. At first, like a week ago, I didn't say nothing about it, but it seems like it's died down. But people were trying to snoop for video evidence from what I was hearing.
Video evidence of him doing things.
Y'all got to. It's a G show. I think it's a G. I only think it's PG, right? Is it PG or G?
Yeah, we know where you're going.
We're probably PG-13.
Yeah.
I mean.
Okay. Yeah, and so I think that came. That ended up rearing no results. And as of right now, man, because what's really blowing is people that's in tune know that this year's class in the state of Alabama is kind of like how the state of Mississippi was in 2019, but probably even a little better. And Auburn's going to basically blow their opportunity with the way Harsin moves. I hear that, you got guys, former players that's on the staff like Zach Etheridge, Cadillac. First off, I hear Zach Etheridge is pissed off at the way that Harsin is handling local recruiting, because that's where the area that Zach Etheridge is, handling this stuff.
So I heard that Etheridge has a standing offer from Georgia right now.
Yep.
And I heard that Carnell Williams, Cadillac, has I covered him, and I still think of him as Carnell. I've heard that he's got some NFL overtures that are becoming increasingly real. And so here's what I heard. Let me tell you what I heard about Auburn in-state recruiting, and you can tell me whether I'm sourced for well or not. I'm told that Auburn had some junior days or whatnot, and there was either one or none. I can't remember. It was only one or none of the top 20 players in Alabama in the 2023 class came to Auburn for the junior day, which is unheard of in that state.
That is correct. And actually, one kid, you know where Central Phoenix is?
Yeah.
And you know how close that is to Auburn?
Yeah, not far at all, within an hour.
One kid left Auburn out of his top 5, Tamarian Parker, specifically because Harsin didn't visit the kid. Harsin basically visited the kid once, which was on a Friday, the weekend before junior day visit, and said, "Hey, come to Auburn." And basically, the kid was looking at you like he had 3 heads. Like, dude, what are you talking about? His position, his area recruiter has been doing his job, but Harsin is not sealing the deal. Like SEC coaches are going out and sealing the deal. And you already heard, y'all regurgitated what I said earlier in the chat, and that's not going to fly down here, man.
Oh no, I mean, even Alabama recruiting nationally has to recruit the state.
Yeah, it finally hits me now when Kobe Hudson has said, "Man, he don't understand kids from down here." It's starting to hit me now. It's a certain way, and this is where most, like, if you want to win championships, compete for for the McPrize, this is where most of the players come from.
Sure.
And you gotta relate to these kids, man. Whether you want to or not, whether you seeing it as sucking it up or bending, whatever, you gotta do it, bro.
So why did they hire him? Why did they hire him, Grind? Because at the end of the day, and you heard what I said earlier, so I'm not going to totally regurgitate it, but I kind of feel strongly about this. At the end of the day, even if Brian Harsin's the biggest jerk ever, and there are people who say that, and even if Brian Harsin might even have some tendencies that go towards bad things, right? You hired him. I mean, they hired him. Did they not do their homework? What happened? Because let's say that he's all the things that people say he is. He didn't become those things in 1 year. He was those things before. He didn't get to Auburn and go, oh, son of a bitch. No, it just doesn't. Life doesn't work like that. So, how did Auburn miss all this and hire him anyway?
To be honest, if you think about the details of the search and like how everything was going down and how Green was sort of acting in his own way, if you kind of think of it as, take titles and stuff off people, if you just think of it as you have this one person that's basically thinking rogue against a group of people, he's not going to basically find somebody that thinks like that group of people. He's going to find somebody that more so thinks like he does. If you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, so along those lines, I was told that Alan Green met Brian Harsin in Mexico. They were in the same resort or whatever, and they were at a pool together, and the two of them just started up a conversation. Alan Green was the AD at Auburn, and Brian Harsin was the head football coach at Boise State, and they just hit it off, and Green really liked him, and when this thing got
more
going,
than them just hit it off.
Huh?
More than them just hit it off.
But he just went and hired him, which, as someone who covered Auburn and sort of understands the dynamics there, it is difficult for me to believe that Alan Green had the power. Forget the guts or the whatever, the power, just the ability, right? They had the power to just go do that.
Well, at the time, I don't think Auburn had a president in place. I think we had an interim still. Which, I mean,
not talking about that kind of power.
Jimmy Rain wasn't out of business though, right? I mean, they were still doing the lumber and the pine and the yellow wood, the yellow tag. If it doesn't have the yellow tag, it's not. I mean, he was still around, right?
Yeah, and I mean, and that whole Kevin Steele thing, the whole Kevin Steele thing just seems like, if you just think about things now, it just seems like Alan Green put that Kevin Steele stuff out. He got that started.
Yeah.
Had to. Which is.
So how's this end? What's your prediction? How does it end?
I mean, hell, if Vegas set this over under for Auburn win total, anything above 6, I'm finna go hammer that under. I'm finna put about 1,000 on that under. I don't think Auburn wins. I don't think Auburn goes to a bowl game, man.
Does Harsin coach those games?
I'm going to say the people at Auburn just tight their purses and bite their tongues until the 12th game. And after he walks out of Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a check, waiting for him right there.
I think that's what
I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure that game in Bryant-Denny is gonna be bad. And I mean, for the past, if you Tommy Tuberville last game was at Bryant-Denny 36-0.
Yeah.
Gene Chizik last game 55-0. Gus Malzahn last game 56-18. Auburn head coach's last game against Nick Saban and Bryant-Denny has not been pretty.
I think that's what I would bet on too. They just don't appear to have the stomach to stroke the 18.3 or whatever it is.
I agree, and I just think that just gonna have to tough this one out, man. Just gonna have to tough this one out. I think Alan Green need to go ahead and find him a new spot, find him somewhere to stay. Brian Harsin, hopefully, he can get on his feet somewhere else, but he got to get the hell out of Auburn.
Ooh, interesting times. What's the line on Auburn A&M basketball? Is that set
yet?
Don't have it yet. No. I love Auburn minus whatever.
Oh yeah, I do too. That's the only thing. Hey man, we got basketball, man. We got basketball.
You do have that.
But before I let y'all go, I want to hit y'all with a little trivia right quick, man. For
all right.
Chat, right?
Okay.
All right. So look, this challenge is a little different. It's going to be basically I'm going to pit two teams against each other, and you tell me which two teams have the most wins of all, between the two. Have more football wins between the two.
All
we're going to
time?
do it 7 times. If we're going to do it 7 times, you get 4 more. I got y'all.
Okay.
All right.
This is what all-time wins?
All-time wins in college football.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina versus Arizona.
Okay, Carolina typically has sucked, right? Like forever.
A lot. Yeah, they had like the George Rogers era when they were in whatever league that was in.
Like Metro or something.
Yeah, they used to play like Tulane and all those teams. And didn't they kind of dominate that league though? Didn't they win a lot of games?
You're asking me stuff that I can't even.
And I don't know about Arizona. I mean, I've never really thought about Arizona being particularly good. I'm sure they've had moments, but they had Tomey was their coach for a while, and they had a pretty good little run for a bit.
I don't know. They had Mario Bates at running back for a little while. The Saints drafted him at some point. He sucked.
My guess, Chase, is South Carolina.
They've been bad. We got to be consensus here, don't we?
Yep, I need consensus.
I like Arizona, but I'll go with South Carolina if you want to go with South Carolina. But I think it's Arizona.
Okay.
What are y'all going to lock
in? You get final call.
No, I'm going to let you have final call. You're better at this than I am.
I think Carolina sucks. I think it's Arizona.
Final call?
Yeah. I'll eat it if I'm wrong.
South Carolina has 615 wins all time.
Okay.
Arizona has 617 wins all time. Arizona has 2 more wins than South Carolina.
Wow. That was a legitimate little conversation we had right there.
Was Bates ASU? Okay, whatever. Sorry. Got it wrong. Okay, whatever.
All right. Missouri versus North Carolina.
Oh, wow. I bet this is super close, too.
Well, I bet they're all super close. I have a hunch that's what we're doing here.
North Carolina was bad for a long time.
Okay.
And it feels like Missouri, when they were in their Big 12 days, was
You think they actually had some?
They were kind of mediocre. And then they had a moment in the SEC, and they've been kind of mediocre for the most part. Carolina was bad for a long time. I'm gonna guess Missouri.
Okay. I have no real opinion, so sure.
All right. Missouri has 688 wins all time. North Carolina has 706 wins all time.
Oh wow!
North Carolina
I wasn't even
close.
right
there.
All right.
Okay.
1-1. All right. Tennessee versus Southern California.
Oh, so we're getting up in the.
My initial guess would be South Carolina. I mean, it's Southern Cal.
Okay. We know they're both really close. Like, he's not giving – nobody's going to be 100 up during this game.
Right.
The majors era and all that stuff. Tennessee, frankly, even – because what I'm thinking about here is Ole Miss, didn't play Bama a lot of years back in the days. Did Tennessee kind of have one of those schedules, too, where they played Ole Miss a lot, but – would they run up wins that way, where they would have kept track during the 50s and 60s? That's kind of my question. You have a good answer there?
Here's what the natural thing is SC because of Robinson and all the Heismans and Pete Carroll and all that, which makes me think that Tennessee's the answer because it's a trick.
Oh. You want to take Tennessee?
Tennessee. We'll take Tennessee.
Y'all going to take Tennessee?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Southern Cal has 852 wins all time. Tennessee has 857 wins all time. Tennessee was the answer right there.
There you go.
Okay.
So we're 2-1.
Texas at 2-1. 2-1. Texas A&M versus West Virginia.
See, your initial thought would be A&M.
My initial thoughts West Virginia because was it Nayland or whatever it was for a while, and A&M.
Yeah, West Virginia they had 2 runs really, the Neyland thing, and then Rich Rodriguez had a run for a while.
But again, it's just going to be separated by like 10 wins or something.
Because West Virginia played for a national title with Major Harris at quarterback. They lost to Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Major Harris was good. I spent some time at West Virginia. I'm familiar with some of their history and stuff. Okay. Not their number of wins, but I've been in the building and seen all the pictures and trophies and stuff.
All right. Go ahead.
So y'all gonna lock in West Virginia?
Yeah, West Virginia.
All right. Texas A&M has 758 wins all time. West Virginia has 761 wins all time. West Virginia has more wins than Texas A&M. Texas A&M has 758. West Virginia has 761.
Okay.
Look at Major Harris getting us to the precipice.
So you're 3-1 right now. 3-1. All right. Let's see. Wisconsin versus Arkansas.
Ooh. I don't know a lot about Wisconsin before.
Is Arkansas good? Like, what is their history? I don't know. See, this is where I get lost a little bit. So,
didn't Arkansas didn't they have a pretty good history when they were in the Big 8 or whatever it was, the Southwest Conference, whatever? Didn't they have they were pretty good? Typically, they were one of the better teams.
It's Arkansas and who? Who's the other team?
Wisconsin.
Oh.
Like Frank Broyles, wasn't he? Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz was good at Arkansas. I mean, I just don't know how long that was, but it seems like in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
And now, obviously, Wisconsin's been running it up here lately.
Yeah, that's part I don't know is what Wisconsin was in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. I don't know my Big Ten history like that, but it feels like Arkansas back in the day
was better,
was consistent because they had some pretty good coaches kind of go through there. Like Ken Hatfield had a run, and Holtz was there for a while, and when I was a kid, they played in the Southwest Conference, and they were always in the upper half of it.
While I'm fine with whatever answer you want to give, we're putting strategy when these two teams are going to be separated by 7 wins.
Okay.
So who the hell cares? Oh, well, they were really good. But no, that's not the this thing is going to be decided by somebody's record in 1923. I mean, so this is more psychology of what Grind is wanting us to guess. He's pairing these teams together. So is he trying to trick us is the question.
So along those lines, I'm going to say Wisconsin. Final answer.
Okay.
Are y'all liking Wisconsin in?
Sure.
Wisconsin has 719 wins all time.
Okay.
Arkansas has 720 wins all time.
Okay, so see, it's 1 win. I told you, 1923 decided the damn thing. So whatever.
The 1924 Bluebonnet Bowl.
Go ahead.
Man, I'm a laugh if Wisconsin is. I mean, if Arkansas was 1-0 versus Wisconsin all time,
bastards.
All right, so 3-2.
All right,
got 2 games. Got 2 games left.
Sure.
Iowa versus TCU.
Okay, we know. I mean, I'm doing this again, which is dumb, but we know Iowa is really good in Hayden Fridays and all that.
And Iowa's been consistent for a long time.
I'm not going to be able to get out of here without picking Iowa here because Neal's going to pick Iowa no matter what. So we really should just stop the damn
I'm a big
analysis.
Arkansas fan, and I didn't pick Arkansas.
And you're pissed off about it. You threw your pin across the room.
Because we had it, and I should have just stuck with what I thought.
He's going to hate himself if he doesn't. If Iowa is right and he doesn't pick it, he's going to be in a sour mood the rest of the show. So he's picking Iowa.
Iowa, go Hawkeyes.
All right, TCU has 662 wins all time. Iowa has 665 wins all time.
Okay.
Boom, go Hawkeyes. You can always count on Iowa. Always.
And, all right, since you're 4-2, I guess this last one don't even matter, but we can do it anyway.
All right, sounds good.
Ole Miss versus UCLA.
Ooh.
2 programs that are kind of alike when you think about it.
Well, as I said, they're going to be yes.
Ole Miss wears the UCLA stripes.
Shut up.
I'll go with the Rebels.
We're going to lock in the Rebels?
Yeah, why not? We've already won.
UCLA has 612 wins all time. Ole Miss has 646 wins.
A lot.
Oh, look at that.
Easily.
How about that? 5-2. That's
Yes,
pretty good
sir. Yes,
performance.
sir. All right, man. Look at y'all, man. I'll make sure to look out for you guys, man. I'm going to keep on enjoying the show.
All right, Brian.
bud.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Wouldn't you think that UCLA would have won more than that?
That felt low.
Yeah.
Where does Ole Miss rank? Somebody look this up. Where does Ole Miss rank all time in wins? Like, what is their rank of power? I mean, of D1 schools, obviously.
I bet it's pretty good.
I don't think it's top 25.
I mean, because they were dominant for a long time, like what, 50s, 60s, into the 70s?
Well, it stopped in the early 70s.
Yeah.
That was it. It was the 50s and 60s.
And they've been pretty good since then. They've had multiple runs.
Grizzlies pull it out 132-107.
Yeah, they're
Jeez.
legit, man.
132.
Now Detroit's horrible.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're bad, but
Oh, that's lower than I thought. 43 in D1. That's
is that
lower
right?
than I thought.
Oh,
Yeah, I would have thought higher than that.
I guess the 70s and 80s probably
They were bad.
dragged them down pretty good.
Yeah.
So apparently people are unhappy with me at rebelgrove.com. Is that right?
I was gleaning that before we got. I told you that would have. Yeah, they were expecting Arch Manning or Deion Smith or.
Well, it couldn't be either one of them, logically. Arch Manning's not doing this like tomorrow, and Deion Smith has to get eligible. And if he gets eligible, he's coming to Ole Miss. We've already said that.
Oh, that's a good point. Tub Rebel says vacated wins.
Oh.
Now that's going to knock some off the freeze era gets killed.
Yeah, it gets, and even some of the Brewer era get killed too.
That's a good point because I want to say, yeah, I said D1 because I knew like Mountain Union would be like top 20. I wanted to knock out that stuff.
Yeah.
Because Ole Miss has the most vacated wins of anybody in the country. I think I've seen that. I think I've used that in a story before.
Does the whole sleeping on a couch thing lose some of the sting now? With Chris? I'm not sting, but you cannot use it anymore. It's not as with Chris deciding not to come back.
No, I think you can still do it.
You still use it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, 33 vacated.
Oh, it's a bunch.
That's a lot of wins.
Yeah, it's 3 undefeated seasons.
That matters.
Yeah, that would change things.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're number one in vacated wins, or at least they was at some point.
Hi.
Hey, who do we have?
Oh, okay.
It's not birthday. My name's Madeline.
Tell me your name again.
Madeline.
Oh, Madeline. Well, happy birthday. How old are you today?
10.
How old?
10.
10.
What'd you get for your birthday?
Cleats.
Oh, okay.
What color?
Pink.
Oh, that's cool. Are you playing softball?
Yeah, I like y'all spin instructor versus the butcher.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, we taped the final episode of the year today. It'll be out sometime tomorrow. It was going to get out today, but we had a little issue. But it'll be up tomorrow. The Super Bowl pick. Who are you picking to win the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Who are you cheering for a team? Do you have a favorite NFL team?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Okay, that counts.
Yeah, yeah, that happens. I mean, with NIL and stuff, everybody's kind of professional.
They're going to start allowing trades in like 6 months, so it's fine.
Tell me you enjoy watching your show.
I enjoy watching the show.
Well, we certainly appreciate you calling. Hope you have a great rest of your birthday and a great birthday weekend, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The vacated thing got way back.
Think.
Good now?
I think so.
Yeah. The vacated thing got announced tonight. I went I did like the embed with Ross and Michael in Clarksdale for their what were those things? Like the info sessions or whatever they did that semester.
Yeah.
It wasn't Rebel Road Trip. It was the other things. It was like the Q&A things. It was at the Grammy Museum and
I remember.
Delta.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. Don't you wish that we could know then what we know now and just
if you knock out the vacated wins and just make them wins, Ole Miss would be 34th.
which is still lower than I would think, but it shows you what happens when you have 2 bad decades.
Yeah. I mean, because they were bad.
Yeah. I can remember coming to Ole Miss the first time and seeing the stadium. It's like 86 and thinking, really?
Oh, really?
That's it? Yeah, I had it in my mind.
That was one of their probation.
Yeah.
One of the hits. $32 at the half. Wow. It's a slow sports night.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be putting a pick into Neal's picks?
Yeah.
Oh, are we?
But we might not run it till like Saturday or Sunday, so you're okay. I've built most of the shell.
Of the one game?
Yeah, but I've got to put some other, like the ad and stuff in it.
Okay.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, it's Mark again. Got another question for you.
Okay.
All right, so it's more for Chase. It's more of a baseball question. So if we don't make it to Omaha, what is Ole Miss's option as far as replacing Bianco? Like, who could we possibly legitimately get?
February the 10th, 8:41.
I don't know. I mean, it's back to last. I mean, look, we're on Groundhog Day a little bit. I don't know if Dan McDonald comes if you fire Mike. I just don't. I'm less sure that I'm 100 that he absolutely will not. I was basically 100 before last year, but how eager or at least open to that job as he was makes me think it's not 100. But I still wouldn't like Ole Miss's chances in that. Cliff is going to get a really strong look.
Okay, so I'll interrupt both of you here because
Yeah.
we're talking about this in a definitive way. Is it Omaha or bust?
Well, he said, "Who would they hire if?" I don't know. I'm just answering the
then
question.
never mind. Mark, accept my apology, please. Chase, you're talking about this in a definitive way. Is it Omaha or bust?
I think he said, "What are our options if they make a change?"
And I'm asking you,
The key word is if.
if they don't make it to Omaha, is he gone? I mean, is there a scenario where?
No, I'm going to take 3 weeks off if they lose Game 3 of a Super Regional because I don't like it's.
Well, then I'm heading to the beach because I'm not doing it by myself.
Keith needs them in Omaha, or he needs, frankly, like a regional loss as a 2. I mean, gun to head, I think it's pretty close to Omaha or bust. But my God, I mean, it's just
So the scenario,
when you break it down, it's a tough thing.
So 18-12 in the league, a very difficult league.
That's what I'm saying.
18-12 in the league, you host a regional and you win it. You get sent to Texas and you lose Game 3.
I know. It's just
are you really? I mean, how do you?
Stephen, I can guarantee you, Mike Bianco is not a source. I am not burning a source with this conversation. And I don't mean that badly, but he is completely by the book, not his thing.
I mean, I could see it going either way. I mean, I've seen so many Ole Miss teams that should have made Omaha that didn't, but yet I've seen...
In that scenario, it is the perfect fodder for both sides to be absolutely just on fire because at that point, and what you're talking about, depending on how you want to do the games 1 and 2 of a Game 3 Super Regional loss, Mike would be 1-10 or 1-11 in games to reach the College World Series, which is an amazing statistic considering their record in any other game in any other capacity.
So much worse than Mike Bianco.
You sure? And then on the other side, your last 4 years, Super Regional, basically number 1 in the country when the season gets canceled, Super regional, super regional. I mean,
Okay, and
So that's a lot to.
Next point. So with NIL, which I mean, kind of evens the playing field with like Vandy and what really Vandy's the outlier. So Vandy, Arkansas with their scholarships, and do you think that NIL could play a factor in Ole Miss landing a lot more top notch recruits? I mean, not so top notch that they're going in the draft, but like the second tier.
NIL has a chance to really, really, really help. And it may even level to the extent that we're talking about as far as giving a lot more scholarships. There could even be some systemic things put in place to level out the entire league. I hear more and more about that where people are willing to essentially prop up the whole league to a number that is very competitive. What you don't know, and I don't know the answer to this, is even if they do that, and that's what everybody maxes out is, what happens if the Arkansas and the Vanderbilt, who already has such an advantage, that NIL starts going, well, okay, but our NIL is going to give every player $1,200 a month.
Because that's the rumor
in addition to that. So the problem is, yeah, you can catch up, but who says they don't do something crazy where essentially they've not only paying for their scholarships, but they have their team on payrolls?
And,
Yeah, but most of those folks are, well, Vanderbilt aside, but Arkansas probably cares more about football and basketball than they do about baseball.
I don't
get wrong.
But it doesn't take a lot of money relative to the sport.
It takes one fairly big business, and I think it exists at Arkansas, and I know it does at Texas, for example. But it only takes one. It only takes one fairly big one to go. You know what? We're going to be the one that invests in baseball, and before you know it, you're there. I'm with Chase. It's just this NIL thing, man. Listen, in every sport, this NIL thing is still so unsettled, and I don't think it's going to be regulated. I don't think Congress has the taste for that. I don't. I know the NCAA doesn't. I
they can't regulate it. I mean, they can't police it. I mean, there's no way they can.
Yeah, and I just don't think Congress wants to put limits on it. It is such a bad look. It is to the constituent that doesn't care about college sports, which is most people, right? I mean, and so
unless you live in the South.
Yeah, but even people who live in the South, there's a lot of people who aren't into sports who look at it and go, so wait a minute, the coach makes. I mean, we'll use Ole Miss as the example. What sport you want to use?
I mean,
any.
Sport, I mean,
it doesn't matter.
I mean, pick football. Lane Kiffin makes 7.5, and you want to put a $50,000 limit on his players, and someone's willing to pay them more? That's not fair. And on the surface, you look at that and you go, yeah, you're right. I get it. I mean, you know, as much as I know it's problematic, the part of me that's like a capitalistic goes, well, that's not fair to put a limit on a person's earning possibilities, especially when they have a limited window. I get it.
Yeah, well, anyway, y'all have a good night. I won't call again, I promise. But y'all have a good night.
All good.
All right. See you, Mark.
Yeah, I think there are some scenarios that could complicate it greatly. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They need clean one way or the other. Again, it's such a weird deal. They've won a lot. They sold 8,000 season tickets.
The scenario I just rolled out is the worst case nightmare.
What is?
And kind of where they've been a lot. Jason, thank you for the super chat. He says, my wife does 95% of the family laundry, 2 toddlers. He does 95% of the dishes. We cook about 4 to 5 days per week. Who got the worst deal?
Neither one of those are things I mind at all.
Mm-mm.
There's something almost kind of therapeutic about dishes to me. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I enjoy cooking. I don't mind doing the dishes, and I don't mind doing the laundry.
But he doesn't say he does not say one or the other does all the cooking. I think he's just talking about how often the dishes need.
You're right, I misread. I'd probably with 2 toddlers, I'd probably rather do the dishes than the laundry.
It's not close.
Yeah, because the laundry is just constant.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing laundry, though, as long as everybody leaves me alone. I can go do the laundry by myself and turn on like a show or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't mind it. But if people are talking, for whatever reason, if people are talking to me while I'm doing laundry, I get a little
leave you alone?
Yeah. Kyle, thanks so much for the super chat. He says, so I just finished season 2 of Ted Lasso. I like the focus on mental health. I cried during the funeral episode. Nate, that bastard. Thoughts? We're past the no
Are we
spoilers
still in
window.
spoiler season?
No, it's been out for months.
I'm asking. I don't know. Because there could be somebody right now that has not watched it, still kind of planning on it. Do the pause for 90 seconds thing.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Ted Lasso season 2 for 2 minutes.
So
Fast forward or go
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I love the focus on the mental health. Thought that
They
was
need
good.
to get off of it now.
Yes, but it's done.
Yes.
It's time to get
it's
back.
really good for a season.
Yeah.
Move.
The funeral scene was emotional. And I like what they've done with Nate's character. We've created a unlikely antagonist. And they're on a crash course to face each other.
And I think it's even believable to an extent. Because when it first started happening, I went, I get that we have to suspend reality to a certain extent anyway because the former Wichita State football coach, soccer coach that we're discussing here.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I understand that. But at the same time, once we get in the world, if you will, they had to be really careful with getting Nate to that believable point. And I think they did it at the right pace that pulled it off for the most part.
Yeah.
It's just hamstrung on with season 3 from the standpoint of what everyone wants the finale to be and how they want it to end.
And if that's going to be the end, that's how.
They have been very smart for 2 seasons. They've got to just give the people what they want. They can't outsmart us at the end. I think that's one of the main things for season 3.
Yeah, I think we want to see a happy ending. Want to see how do you? I'm curious to see if
because I don't even think we want an ending where Nate turns back good and then wins.
No. Nate, no. I think Ted's team, our team, has to win. We're all watching that, cheering for Ted's team.
Yeah,
we
know those guys.
We need them to win.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what they do with Roy and Kylie, and got a feeling that's going to bother me.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think she's going to go back to Jamie.
Okay, I don't care.
And then, but maybe Roy and the.
I really like Roy, but
I like the teacher.
They did kind of.
Yeah, I liked her.
They pushed that enough.
All right, we're past the 2-minute mark.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind the laundry, but no, dishes all day long. It's not close.
There's kind of something therapeutic about dishes. They're dirty, and you clean
You're
them.
watching because it's in real time. You're seeing
progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something to that. You're literally cleansing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The warm water and
just turn an audio book or something on. Leave me alone. It's all good. Play Jeopardy on the Alexa.
I would enjoy that.
Yeah, just that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Ozark for sure worth watching. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Even Neal's saying that.
It is.
He hates suspense.
Yeah.
It's a cousin of Breaking Bad.
It is. But it's a more tolerable cousin than.
You think so?
Yeah, it's okay. It's a little scary. Gets to you. Got to keep some episodes of Parks and Rec and The Office nearby, just to cleanse. Speaking of cleansing,
you can't do like 8 in a row.
Oh no! And then get in the bed.
Yeah.
No, and you wake up at 2 a.m. screaming. No. I have not watched Boba Fett.
No, that's not my thing. No.
All right, we haven't talked about the Super Bowl. Are you expecting a good game?
Yeah, I am expecting a really good game.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, I still give the Rams the edge, but
the Bengals are so loose and young that one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to kind of get popped in the mouth and it's whoa, or they come out house on fire, and then the Rams have their hands full at that point.
I don't want – what worries me, because I think this is possible, I'm dreading a game where Stafford plays his team out of it. I'm a little worried about that. I want to see Stafford play well for whatever reason.
If I tell you you can pick the MVP, but it can't be Stafford and it can't be Burrow, who's the MVP?
Okay, some of the problem there is that grabbing a wide receiver is hard because it turns into quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Because my first thought was Cooper Kupp, but
so
Stafford wins it if that's the case.
So you get into Akers, Mixon, or a defensive guy, Aaron Donald. Mike Hilton's going to get thrown at some.
A lot of people actually like the crazy Hilton because of the odds. It's like 2,500 to 1 or something for him to be the MVP.
I know, and they're going to throw
at
like
him
that.
Some. Get a pick and run it back, and it just
sure.
kind of turned into a weird deal. I would say Mixon, but only because I think the Bengals could get in that situation where they've got to kind of do a little more of that closer to the end zone. And also, I think Sony Michel plays a lot, so I don't know what the Rams backfield tandem. I don't think Akers is just getting every carry there. But I like the Rams to win the football game. I mean, if you told me just to straight up pick the MVP, I would pick Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, I think the safe bet on MVP is one of the quarterbacks, obviously. Everybody talks about Aaron Donald. I don't think he can be impactful enough to win.
He can be impactful enough. It's going to be hard to get votes.
Right.
Those are two
to
different.
Put up the stats that you need for MVP.
Yeah.
Richard Dent won it, I know, one time. Is it any other defensive lineman won MVP in a Super Bowl? Here lately, it's been quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know of another lineman that's won it. Football makes a good point. It's going to be really hard for the Bengals to run on the Rams.
Yeah.
That offensive line is going to get
They're going to have to
day.
use the short passing game as a running game.
A lot of chips, holding in, max protects.
They're really good in the middle of the field, and that's not where the Rams are at their best.
No, they hide people in the middle.
And Tyler Boyd can hurt you in the middle of the field. Uzoma's going to play. Hopefully, for his sake, he's going to be healthy enough to play well. He would not play if this were a regular season game. And then the thing that they can do, everyone – I worked on this for picks a little bit. Everyone talks about the Rams corner, whose name's Florida State.
Jalen Ramsey.
Ramsey, thank you. That he's, elite and he can't be – just this season alone, some elite receivers have gotten numbers against him.
Yeah.
You can do it. Chase, Higgins, it's going to be fun. I think it's a really fun game. I think the Rams win, but the Bengals have proven in Nashville and they've proven it in Kansas City that they're fine with the stage.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go have fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. 5:30-ish kick.
5:30 kick. Yeah, 3:30 out there. It's going to be super hot. So do they close I guess they're closing the roof?
I haven't seen that. I don't know. No, I would assume they leave it open because they need to for COVID reasons.
It's supposed to. It will be the hottest Super Bowl in history.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would assume.
Mouth is the dirtiest place on the human body.
You always heard that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything else? Basketball 7:30 at Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget we've got. We'll have put these out, but there's a promo for a Game Changer patch at rebelgrove.com. You can also Dead Soxy through midnight on Monday, 30% off at just with the promo code rebelgrove at deadsoxy.com. All right, we'll stop there. You guys enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll be back with you on Monday. I'll have 10 thoughts probably up on Monday because I'm going to watch the game and all that. I'll be a little late. We'll get that. We'll get that to you. We'll get that to you on Monday. And till then, for Chase, I'm Neal. Thanks again to the people at Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, for making Hand Raise Guys possible. We'll put this up in podcast form on Friday. So enjoy your weekend. Take care.